Imperial citizens, it's High Inquisitor Armstrong here, and today we're gonna be requisitioning some combat engineers and maybe a couple of servitors. So we're gonna start with this lovely little set. This is a servitor set from a kill team. I don't remember the exact name, and they actually never assembled the minis, so I don't have a clue how they really come together. Then we have a couple of Goliath sprues, because obviously, some of the Goliath gangers can end up in our custody. We have the Reptilian Overlords, or whatever they are called, one sprue of those, and as well we have a couple of convicts in here. So what I'm thinking, we're gonna again mix and match and build something interesting. Yeah, so they are female convicts, not the male convicts. So yeah, I have ton of sprues on the desk, probably way too many. Yeah, like if I want to build them all today, it would be 200 hours long video, and they do not have enough hours in it. So let's just grab a kind of at ease position from the female convicts set. So we're gonna take this one. I think that this one is most at ease. And we're definitely gonna grab some backpacks from here as well to make it easier. All right, so we have this. Then head. I'm just thinking, how would the convict combat engineer look? Would this be a hatted head, or maybe one is those kind of beanies or bald like I tend to use for them? This one in here have either a hat or a hair. Let's just go with the assumption that the combat engineer is gonna have a little bit more of freedom, so a little bit more hair. So we're gonna give this head. Yeah. Now let's just get away from this sprue and see what we have in here. So obviously, since I pick out the AdMech, Adeptus Mechanicus sprue, we're gonna get some mechanical parts on her. The first thing I was thinking is a toolbox. Yeah, we have a toolbox arrow over here, which is nice and mechanical. Yep. So let's see if that's gonna even kind of fit on the character. It actually does. It works very well. Yeah, usually you carry the toolbox at roughly this height. And then I'm thinking about the other hand, what would we be using for it? This one is kind of okay, a little bit bulky in my opinion. This one is okay. I'm just thinking if I want to do both of the arms mechanical, because this one looks great. It have a grabber, it have a drill. It would be great for a combat engineer. Or this one with the saw. No, we need a manipulator, so this one. I'm gonna go with this one. Yeah, this is gonna be a very chill out video because I'm not rushing anywhere. I'm starting work tomorrow late, so I have plenty of time. Yeah, so we're gonna be just adding more convicts to our group. I'm gonna have to figure out what kind of uniforms I want for the combat engineers. Would they be still in orange? Would there be any distinctive signs on them? But yeah, I know that I haven't done any painting video for this entire thing yet, because I only finished like a couple of minis, and I probably showed them already because I tend to show them off one by one. So yeah, we have the head, now the backpack. There is another option to do on the backpack. I was thinking those extra mechanical tendrils like this saw in here, or this I don't know what this flamer, but I think that's gonna go on this boy, and they don't want to just take away his war gear, because he's gonna be probably joining us as well at some stage. So yeah, let's try to assemble this if I gonna find my plastic glue. Oh my goodness. I have screw goop in here, but then I don't know where I put my plastic glue bottle. Okay, this is war. This is clearly war against me. The world is fighting me. So let's do it. Let's just open new battle. Yeah. Holy heck, that was tight. So yeah, let's just start assembling. I think it's gonna be an interesting miniature. The arm obviously is a little bit thicker than the girl herself. Yeah, but that's because she was a little bit brutalized by Admech. Yeah, so we have a back with her toolbox, then we have a other arm with this. This arm actually have proper manipulators, so it's gonna work very well as a combat engineer. The head literally just throws everything absolutely off. Yeah, because she looks very girlish with mechanical arms. Which is freaking awesome. I love doing this kind of stuff, when everything is just kind of skewed. And let's see how we can install that backpack. So it should be this way. Yes. All right, let's hope that the glue gonna hold, and we're gonna just add the backpack. Yep. So there we go. I am the one and only. Nobody I'd rather be. Nobody else I'd rather be, I guess. But yeah, let's just give it a minute for the glue to bond. And here we go, our combat engineer. We're gonna put her on base in a few minutes. Let's just give that glue time to dry. Now, do we gonna grab Goliath? Yes, we're gonna grab a Goliath, maybe Goliath? There was like one guy on the entire sprue in here. Yep. This is gonna be awesome. And there is actually a weapon with the giant key. Yeah, so we have the hammer. Obviously, the combat engineer can be using hammer, but this one, yeah, this is a Allen key, basically. Not Allen, what do you call it? The adjustable key. Yeah, so we have a big chunk of to work with. So there we go. Where is a chest piece for him? I'm quite convinced that there should be one. It might not be on this sprue though, because I think like this one was already, kind of scavenged for pieces for other builds. So it might be that I just, well, this one is it exactly the same, both of them? Huh. I never noticed. Or no, probably it is because I didn't have this, I didn't use that sprue for a very, very long time now. So it might be just this, that simply I noticed, but I haven't used one for a while. Like I have built my last Goliath probably about a year ago or so. So yeah, I want this big chunk in front of his face. So it's gonna be like, if he's gonna be doing welding or stuff like that, it's gonna be protecting his face a little bit. So there we go. That's my excuse for this big hunk of metal in front of his face. And now we need to grab a foot. This gives us opportunity. Do we want to give him a partially mechanical one? Nah, we're gonna go for a regular human one. Which one is it? That's gonna be this one, I guess. Yeah, with those sprues, like I said, I don't know where I put the instructions, where I probably throw them out. So it is hard for me to do something, according to the book. Sometimes when I want to build something and I don't have instruction, I just gonna look up the instructions on the internet. Oh. That leg do not fit here. That feet definitely do not fit here. Okay, let's see if we have anything else in here. Maybe this one. That seems like it might be the right one. Yeah, that feels much better. Let's try to put it on. Yeah, this feels like it's the right one. And now we have to figure out how to attach that big key to this guy. Where is his arm? Because it's gonna have to be a short piece of arm, because it is only his forearm over here. The hammer, I love this hammer. It is one of the coolest hammers ever. This in here is a cool big key for the combat engineer crew. And I think, I wanted to put this on the 25mm base, like it should be, but I'm gonna have to put it on bigger one. That's okay. We're just gonna have to embellish the base later on. So we have this, but we cannot find the short arm for him. Am I just mixing and messing about the... Yeah, there we go. Let's just put this aside here. Now, the short piece of arm, that's something like this. And that's gonna be probably the correct one. Is there another one like this? No, not really. Okay, this gives me an answer then. So, pa-chow. Like, I know that we are pretty much assembling a pure Goliath at this stage, but this is gonna change in a few seconds. So I just have a feeling that generally that spike kind of do not fit the aesthetics. So I'm just gonna cut that knife spike away. That's gonna make it more of a key than a instrument of murder. Which, well, that those keys easily you can murder someone with them. And I probably this video never gonna get monetized because I used one of the forbidden words. Haha. Okay, let's give it a moment to dry. Now let's think. We have one arm, which is the one with the key. It's gonna go over here. Yeah, and we need to add him a second arm, and that's where our admech sprue, well, Adeptus Mechanicus Servitor sprue comes back in play. And I'm thinking, he is very chunky, but I don't think that I actually have chunky enough arm for him to look natural. Let's see. for that particular arm. Oh, that's I think a leg, not an arm. Wow, that's a conundrum. And I know I'm using complicated words for myself today, but maybe that prodding rod in here would kind of sort of fit. You know, he may not have the manipulators, but he would have a big long arm, which is very non-descriptive. Let's see. If we just pair him like that, that's actually gonna work. If we're gonna pair him like that, that's gonna be tiny. He's gonna look like he got hands from a wrong model. So yeah, we're gonna use the prod arm. All right, let's clean this up. And you know, I just cut it off the sprue and I already don't remember where the sprue gates were. So yeah, awesome. Everything is awesome. Yeah, that's gonna actually work because this arm is extremely non-descriptive, and this gonna go here. Yep, definitely 100%. I like the idea. It works at least a little bit. So let's do it. Let's give him a nice, lovely key. Then we're gonna give him a prod arm. But obviously, because of this, how badly it's gonna fit otherwise, we're gonna use a sprue goop. I don't know why I always go with a screw poop, yeah, instead of sprue goop, but that's where my brain goes. Yeah, don't blame me. It's broken, just a little bit. Okay, and of course later on I'm gonna have to clean all of that extra crap that is always coming with the sprue goop. And probably I'm gonna have to cut out that wire because it's going absolutely nowhere. So I just do it straight away so I don't gonna forget about this, and I'm gonna regret that probably. Okay, that's better. So we have him in kind of, you know, resting position. That arm kind of works, which isn't bad. Now head and head again. This is Goliath, and one of the things that I love about Goliaths are they stupidly cool heads. And I just noticed that arm was here. If I don't call myself blind, who else will? So he's gonna be a welder, so we're gonna give him that lovely mask. Yeah, because we're gonna be pretending that prod arm is actually a welder. Yeah, that's gonna be our excuse for it. It is a welder, and then we need to put him some normal Goliath head. Normal means quite demented. So I'll just grab this one. Got this. Actually, I'm just thinking, you know, that one of the, what do you call them, of the other guy's heads, the reptilian overlords, may be quite funny just to kind of throw this all off. Like this one in here, yeah, he have a mohawk, but not Goliath kind of mohawk. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. This is gonna throw this entire thing a little bit off, but I love the, you know, stupidity of mixing and matching pieces. The thing is that this is the, in my opinion, this entire thing is the easiest kind of bead bashing, yeah, of converting miniatures, because I'm not really doing anything massively outside of ordinary. Yeah, I'm just replacing pieces from one set to the other, and I'm trying to match the sets as closely as I can. Yeah, so like we have Goliath, we have AdMech pieces, or, you know, Adeptus Mechanicus, whatever you want to call them. Yeah, and then we have the piece from Reptilian Overlords, which size-wise is absolutely right size. Yeah. And then we can put this on, and it's gonna be awesome, and I'm gonna be so proud of myself and everything. Yeah, but like I like cutting pieces. I like converting them. I like my very first 40k army that I ever had was actually Nurgle Space Marine, and that was back in the day when Nurgle Space Marine, non-metal ones, were coming in a box of I think 6 or 10, and all of them were monopose. Yeah, so as you may imagine, all of my Nurgle monopose Space Marines were actually posed completely different. Some of them have knives, some of them have swords, some of them have capes, some of them have skulls instead of heads, which, I'm still quite happy, with after so many years, that it still turned out fairly decent, back then. So yeah. So we're not going to be using any more Goliaths at this stage. We're going to put them aside. Yeah, and let's see what else we have over here. No, this is definitely not. This is our Wardens. We're not going to be putting any of the Wardens as the what did I want to say? As the mechanics. Yeah, so no, this is wrong sprue. This is definitely not the sprue that I want right now. Nope. Oh, believe me, if you see the amount of sprues that is on this desk, you would be quite in shock probably, or not really, because you know how much crap I buy. This is still Reptilian. Actually, yeah, why not Reptilian Overlords? I have them right in front of me. So why don't we just use one of those guys? Again, I want fairly static pose, yeah? For the entire mechanic crew, I want static poses. So we're gonna use these legs, yeah. And we're gonna probably get the mechanic crew to a 10, just to have like a separate unit. And now, torso. I already used one of those before, so we're gonna use one of those just to make a difference. Yep. And we're gonna grab this one here. Oh my god, my dog is snoring away. Oh, and I was thinking that maybe there's gonna be a hat, fitting for this, because I know that this one is without a hat because he have a mohawk. But this one would fit with the hat that the lady have. So we're gonna use this head. Yeah. So we have a couple of pieces from this. Now let's try to match something from this sprue as a war gear. Yeah. Maybe let's just try to assemble this first, partially at least. Yeah. So we're gonna just squeeze it together. Grab the plastic glue. And still, for the life of me, I don't know where did I put the other bottle. It's probably under that pile of spruce. Suri, stop snoring. Yeah, now she is happy and she's still snoring. Like, I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous. I wish, I was as lazy. Well, I am, but, that's just familial bonds, I guess. Okay, now, let's see if any of those arms gonna... Yeah, these arms don't gonna work anymore because the freaking reptilian overlords have giant bodies. So back to Goliath sprue. Back to Goliath sprue. No. Where is that one sprue? No. Okay, today's build is absolutely disorganized beyond belief. Yeah, I should have limited myself to smaller amount of sprues. But what we're gonna do, this is Goliath set, like I said, mechanics. Yeah, this arm, just think about this entire thing. It's excellent for a mechanic. Yeah, he is the one with heavy hammer to hammer stuff in or to hammer enemies in. Either or works for him. We're gonna call him MC Hammer. Let's see how this arm gonna fit onto the Mini. Sort of, kind of poopy. So let's just do a little bit of trimming over here. And this is probably the most dangerous cut for my fingers. Because the beauty of those minis, the Reptilian Overlords and others from the same kind of set, is the fact that they are modular, so they have flat surfaces. When Goliath and any other Necromunda piece gonna be more of a monopose, so they're gonna be having all of those little, indentations and places you should be gluing stuff to. But this guy, he's gonna be carrying this hammer roughly thrown over his shoulder. So sprue glue, and we're gonna attach this arm somehow. It's not gonna be pretty, it's not gonna be perfect, but it's gonna be semi-functional for now. And then if I'm gonna see a reason to come back and clean it up, I will. If I don't, I'm gonna leave it be. And thus far, I think that we're gonna be able to leave it be. There is not much of a problem. The only thing, I just trying to get this moved far enough. Yep, that's absolutely fine. And now we, unfortunately, even though I wanted to maybe mix the arms with the AdMech set, I think that I'm gonna need to go back to the Overlord sprue just to grab one of his arms. Hopefully there's gonna be an empty one for this hand, or with like one-handed weapon or something. Oh, there is one with a pistol. Yeah, muscular one with a bolt-ish pistol looking one. So I think that that's actually absolutely fine for him. All right. And like for the Goliath, I didn't even think about the backpack because they have this lovely strap on their back. Yeah, so backpack would be just covering this detail, which I really didn't want. And for this guy, that hammer may be a problem for a backpack. So we will see if we're gonna squeeze a backpack in maybe a little bit later. But right now, there is no plan for it. Now, this hand, how you gonna look? You need to go up, okay? Because in any other position, you're gonna look silly. All right. It still kind of looks silly. But I guess the pose isn't actually perfect. Oh, what is going on? Why the glue isn't cooperating with me? This is a plastic glue, not super glue. You're not supposed to be gluing stuff to my fingers with plastic glue. Right, too high, a little bit lower. A little bit lower. Okay, that's fine. And now the head. And like I said, we have the hatted head just for... I am losing my grip on reality right now. It might be the fact that it's, close enough to midnight, or maybe even after midnight, just a few minutes after midnight. And, I've been editing videos and finishing videos for the better part of today. Well, after I finish my work, of course. Yeah, so there you have a hammer. Yeah, MC Hammer. Let's leave him be. Let's give him time to dry, especially this hammer to set, because otherwise it's gonna be a problem. And I want to just build 2 more for today because time constraints. So let's just grab one of those, you know, skinny guys from the male convicts crew, and then we're gonna look for another sprue of the minis. Again, I want to have like not very aggressive looking position. Maybe the one kneeling kind of works. You know, maybe he is looking at something and trying to fix something lower. Okay, so we have like, you know, storytelling in the build, and we're gonna grab, of course, one with the big hat. Yeah, so there we go. I just clean up the arms, the attachment points, the, you know, the injection molds areas. So like, just my opinion, yeah, but you know, if you can move the injection molds to the bottom of the feet, both of them, that would be so much better. But I understand that, you know, injection molding isn't that great for placing the everything, you know, where the customers would like to see it. It just sometimes just have to go where it have to go. All right, so now let's have a look at the arms that we can use for this guy. So this one is actually looking awesome in my opinion. It have this tendril coming out. Yeah, so that's gonna be like empty arm. You know, he is dealing with something. He is trying to get this fix using that extending tendril, mecha tendril. Yeah, so this is one arm. And now do we have a second with the grabber arm? This one have a grabber. All right, that's not too bad. This is like very fast to get this stuff. We're gonna leave it backpackless for now. We'll see. Like all of the backpack decisions, I'm gonna probably just make later on, if I even after the video, because I'm not sure about the backpacks for those guys. Yeah, but we have this arm in here, which gonna go on this side. Like, I know that I have one backpack on the lady, but she have a perfect position for the backpack. This arm is thick for him, but you know, they are very scrawny. Yeah, and it might be that, you know, the AdMech just build it a little bit thicker. You know, they don't always kind of match everything to be aesthetic and functional, but well, functionality is kind of a key for them, but aesthetics, you know, form, not 100%. They would just build something to be done. And this guy, you know, like I said, he's kneeling, he's fixing something down there. Yeah, and maybe we're gonna just throw a last gun on his back later on. But that's our build number 4. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Let's see if I can see any other kind of a cool sprue that I would like to use. Oh, I broke those sprues in half, didn't I? What? I think that they are the male convicts or something. And oh yes, nope. Come on, I want something, you know, a little bit more unhinged than usually, or maybe just a little bit different. And no, this is gonna be way too technical. Yeah, I was thinking one of those bodies. Yeah, it isn't really unhinged per se, it is just a little bit different. Okay, that's gonna be a massive pile of stuff. There is no heads that I want to use from that. I can use probably a backpacks later on, but we're gonna grab one of those bodies. And I'm thinking the same body that I used for the original Gestapo guy, where the, you know, what do you call them? Commissar. Yeah, it's very straight body. There is no really complications with it. per se. All right, and now arms and stuff. And I'm literally just popping into the same sprue because why not? This works very well so far. Would we just give him one of the flamers? Just to have some cool weapons, you know, like a specialty weapons in the unit. Then when I'm gonna be assembling these guys, I'm gonna be out of the cool arms. Which is, you know, always kind of a case with me, you know. I use up stuff from one sprue and then I'm looking to assemble that sprue and I'm like, oops, I did it again. Yeah, but yeah, let's just grab two of the remaining, you know, kind of mechanical arms, because you can see in here we have like one more, which this one is actually very cool. And then we have the, you know, the shooter arms for the chunky servitors. But yeah, let's just go with that, and then we're gonna have to figure out the head for him as well. So there we go, one arm, and we're gonna just put it next to him. Like I said, I want them in mostly rested position, not really, you know, aggressive stance. Of course, you know, someone standing with flamer, yeah, even if they are trying to be in resting position, that flamer gonna be still kind of aggressive. Yeah, because you are cooking with true Emperor's fire of vengeance. Yeah, so I love how this balance this look at that. That arm big, chunky, that one kind of small, kind of, you know, not fitting. He looks weirdly disbalanced just because of this. And let's see if any of those heads gonna be of any good use to me. Well, they do actually have this kind of head with the hat on it, which works. Yeah, absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. All right. So here we go. This is our, you know, mechanic number 5. And this one, you know, under this hat is so recessed, it might look like a mechanical prosthesis. Prosthesis. So yeah, there we go. 5 of them done. Let me just grab a spin table. Here they are, our recruits for today. Yeah. First of them, you know, we have our petty officer Susie. Yeah, Susie is a ex-Escher. She was very well known in the Underhive for doing what she does. And believe me, it wasn't fixing stuff. It was actually more of a breaking stuff. Yeah. Then next to her, we have our lovely Goliath friend. You know, one of the weird situation is they work very closely right now, but beforehand they actually try to kill each other. Yeah. So his name is Sparky, you know, because he likes to spark stuff on fire. Yeah. Well, weld stuff. Then we have Tunnel Rat. He is, you know, the one kneeling down. He was always very skinny and, you know, getting in all of the tunnels in the Underhive, and, you know, he got his reputation. He could sneak everywhere, steal everything, and that's how he lost both of his arms. Then we have officer formerly known as MC Hammer. Yeah, he was, you know, one of the Cadian troopers, not Cadian, Katachan troopers, but he discovered that his true calling is hammering stuff to bits. And then we have the officer of the group, you know, his name is, I don't know, you know, probably something along the line of Chipotle or maybe Taco Bell, you know, he loved flaming stuff. Yeah, that's why when they offered him augmentation surgery, he picked flamer arm. Yeah, there was no other reason. He just liked to set people on fire. But yeah, that's our group of the mechanics for today. We're gonna be probably looking at another one to be made next week, but I really need to go to sleep. So everyone, if you like this video, you know what to do. Rate, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, family, and whoever else want to watch it. And everyone have a great day and take care. Bye bye.